All right. Pop out chat. Let's throw you over there. What is going on? I don't know if any of this is working, given that I don't really live stream that often anymore. So let's actually take a look. Unmute. Oh, can someone can I get like a mic check? Because like my monitor, it doesn't seem to be working. So can I get a mic check from somebody? I mean, given that there's nobody here, I don't know. Like I'm either way, we're gonna be doing some Microsoft Flight Sim today, and I've got well, my iPad should have popped up. Where'd it go? Why did my iPad not pop up? Um, yeah, that's there. Why are you not? Huh? Oh, iPad. Let's see. Oh, because it's the wrong one. There we go. So I've got my iPad right about here. And again, if anybody shows up, can I please get a mic check? Because I cannot tell at all how good my audio is. But here's my oh wait, no, here is my iPad that's right here in front of me. So what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be flying from my airport right up in Sturgeon Bay, and we're going to be flying. We're not really going to be flying through this weather because we're going to be simulating that we're flying tomorrow. But we are going to be doing this flight, and it's supposed to be VFR tomorrow. Again, really nobody's here. Kind of alarming. Normally by now people show up. But I guess I don't live stream that often anymore, so it's very possible that people don't want to show up. But what's up? Audio is good, loud and clear. Okay, awesome. Because it sounds scratchy and staticky and nasty and gross in my ears. It sounds like I don't know. But 10 concurrent viewers. That's what's up. That's what's up. I don't have any of my buttons back here because I set up a whole new sim station and all this other jazz. So if you are curious, it's Next Level Racing. If you do want a whole sim set up like this, if you do want to look, this is kind of the whole setup. So we got our honeycomb, yoke, throttle, all this jazz. All squared away. We got the iPad right up there. I actually absolutely love this sim. And we've got the iPad that pops up so that you can follow along the entire time. So as I said, we're going to be taking the airplane off to paint today. Let's see if I can make that bigger because I got the teleprompter up there. Alt. No, that pulls up ChatGPT. I don't like that. Oh, go away, ChatGPT. I'm trying to see if I can make the chat bigger because I can't see anything. Okay, so I got howdy. Yeah, all right, I can see a little bit. But awesome. How is everybody doing tonight? As I said, we are going to be flying my airplane off to paint. Let's pull up the iPad so that you guys can kind of see what the plan is, right? So here we are up in Sturgeon Bay. This is where we're going to be starting from. So Sturgeon Bay, it's a nice little airport. It's VFR. It's going to be VFR tomorrow. Doesn't matter which runway we take off of. They got crossing runways, so it's going to be pretty good. It's going to be pretty good weather. So I'm not too concerned about that. We do have the sound from Microsoft Flight Sim in the back. I hope that doesn't bother too many people. But from there, we're just going to follow the shoreline, right? We're going to follow the shoreline down. The reason we're following the shoreline is because I just rebuilt this engine, right? I just rebuilt the engine that's on this airplane. So I kind of want to be within gliding distance of somewhere that I can land. Sure. Do I want to put it in Lake Michigan in the middle of February? No, it's cold. I will probably die from hypothermia before the Coast Guard gets me, but at least I won't die on impact. At least there's a chance, right? At least there's a chance that something might happen. Like I might survive. But bring the iPad back up. So we're going to follow the shoreline. And the reason, also another reason we're following the shoreline is you see this restricted area right here. I want to make sure that I can maintain clear of this restricted area. If I follow the shoreline, I know I'm going to be clear of it. We all know that's where they hide the Lake Michigan monster. That is the only thing that's in that restricted area. It's got nothing to do with military training or anything like that. It is just where they hide the Lake Michigan monster. Salute from Las Vegas. That's what I'm talking about. How's your night going from Vegas? But once we get to once we end up south of the restricted area, which is going to be just past the West Bend Airport and also just past the city of Port Washington, then we could start cutting in. And again, continuing to follow the shoreline. We're going to hope that Milwaukee will let us just cut through their airspace. A lot of times they do let us cut through on the lake side because I can technically just stay below their airspace. But again, Lake Michigan in the middle of February. I mean, for heaven's sakes, Lake Michigan any day. Like it's going to be cold. But in the middle of February, it's definitely going to still have some ice in it. So we really don't want to land there, but if we have to, we will. And again, from then on, we're going to follow the shoreline. We can try to get the Chicago VFR transition. Let's see if we can pull that up. Let's see if we can pull up the procedures for the Chicago VFR transition. Other hotspot, lasso. Definitely not going to be in an approach. No, those are the departure procedures, airport diagram. Oh yeah, VFR. Aircraft operating under. Why are you not? Come on, open. Okay, then we're gonna do this. We're gonna go full screen. Hey, ForeFlight, what's your problem? What's your problem, ForeFlight? Why are we not opening stuff? Nope. Oh, I definitely did not want to do that. Oh, damn. Well, let's just clear the whole flight plan then. So once we get to O'Hare, we might there's going to be some things we might have to navigate around O'Hare. We might have to just cross. I don't really want to cross Lake Michigan, so we're probably going to go around the land side. Let's look at some chats. Same from Vegas. By home, mountain flying tomorrow. Morning out of Boulder. What's up, Pace? I don't know who Pace is. Pace, the other person in the chat. I'm stupid. So once we get down around Chicago, we're going to hit Gurney. Gurney's probably going to be where we stop for gas. At this point, we're probably going to need some gas because I am going to be running this airplane a little bit rich because as I already said, what's happening is, as I said, I just rebuilt this engine, right? I've already done the 2 hours of break-in and it didn't burn any oil. It burned absolutely no oil, which is absolutely love it that it didn't burn any oil. Normally you expect to burn like up to a quart of oil on a freshly rebuilt engine, but it didn't burn a damn thing, which I am super happy about. I am super proud of. And again, I rebuilt it all of myself. So I am going to be running it slightly rich. The reason I'm running it slightly rich is I really just don't want to score any cylinder walls. I don't want to have any pre-detonation because again, we might still have a little bit of tuning to do on that fuel servo. So we're going to be running it a little rich, probably 11 gallons per hour in the cruise. We might be able to get it down to 10 because that's kind of what these airplanes just average at is 10 gallons an hour. So once we get to Gary, Indiana, then we're going to stop and get fuel. We might go somewhere else other than Gary because I'm assuming the fuel at Gary is going to be really expensive. Let's take a look. Let's see. Yeah, $5.89. We could go just a little bit farther south and get like almost $1 cheaper. So we might actually go here for gas, Lansing Municipal, since we're going to be down around that way anyway. And then it's really just kind of cutting it across to KPOV. So let's put it back in here. KPOV. Enter. So yeah, then it's really just cutting it across. There's not really a whole lot of airspace. There's an MOA right here that we got to be concerned about. There's a Bravo that we got to be concerned about, but we're probably going to be at around 2,500 feet anyway. So we're not really going to be worried too much about that. And then landing at POV and gas at POV is, oh, come on, show me how much the gas is. Fuel is 605 a gallon. I don't really like that, but you know, you got to do what you got to do. Then we're going to drop the airplane off for paint. Does that make sense? Now we're going to hop into the flight sim and actually do it. Go out of here. Get out of here, iPad. Boop. So as I said, we got our honeycomb alpha, honeycomb bravo, and down here on the floor, we got some honeycomb Charlies. So let's go ahead and tuck away our keyboard so we can get full rudder deflection. Now, what airplane should we use? Because let's be honest, there's no Lake. There's no Lake Buccaneer. There's no Lake 200 or anything like that in Microsoft Flight Sim. So what do y'all think? Like, what airplane should we actually use to kind of simulate it? We're not really going to use the Spruce Goose. Like, that's a little much. The Sea Ray is really slow. Like, I know I'm sitting here talking about a Lake Buccaneer, and I'm complaining that the Sea Ray is slow. So I mean, seaplanes. There's not really a whole lot of seaplanes that kind of fit that range of speed. I guess this is close. The Beaver. So I mean, what do y'all think? What do y'all think? I was probably just gonna grab like a 172 or something, because that's gonna be the easiest comparison. I mean, I guess we got the Piper 236, but a Piper 236 is actually a lot faster. Definitely not gonna take the Icon. That would, oh god, that'd be miserable. I was thinking about the Albatross, but that's nowhere near like similar in any respect to the Lake 200. There's absolutely no similarities between the Lake 200 and the Albatross. So, you know, that wouldn't really be an appropriate approximation. I guess there's the Diamond. The Diamond's also an option. The DA40. The DA40 would be pretty close. Cub Crafters is also another good option. I guess we got the Arrow. You know, we got these. You know, that's not bad. But what do y'all think? What do y'all think? Should we just take the Albatross? I think we should just take the Albatross. The Albatross would be the funnest to fly, and probably faster. Like, what's the cruise speed of an Albatross? Let's go take a look. This is the long range passenger version. What do we got? 330 liters per hour with a cruise speed of 145, max altitude of 20,000, range of 2,300. But then there's also the Goose. The Goose. Wait a minute. The Goose is faster than the Albatross? What? I did not realize that the Goose was faster than the Albatross. But I mean, definitely not this. 85 knots. Max altitude of 15,000. Sure. The Sea Ray, that's 80 knots. I think it's definitely just gonna be an Albatross, because that's just fun. Like, an Albatross is just fun. So let's go ahead and check out an Albatross, and our departure is gonna be Kesu. So Kesu. There we go. And our arrival is going to be KPOV. Is it going to let me like drag? Can I drag? No. Doesn't let me change the route. EFB flight planner. Let's see if I can do it in here. What did it have me do? Oh, it's just got the add waypoint. Oh, what's a good waypoint in between for us to stay clear of all the airspace and stuff? I guess we could do KSBM. Yeah, we could just put KSBM. That would be a decent waypoint. All right. Let's find another waypoint that we could add. Let's say that we're going to have to navigate around Milwaukee's airspace. So with that in mind, I think we'll put a VFR waypoint in, which is Musk E2. Should be a VFR waypoint. Is it going to let me add it? No, it's not going to let me. That's lame. Why would I not be allowed to add VFR waypoints? Okay, well, with that in mind, let's go KUES. Call it Waukesha. It is Waukesha. It's not Waukesha. It's spelt like Waukesha, but it is Waukesha. Then we'll probably just go ENW. for the Kenosha VOR. Add. Maybe I could just, oh yeah, let me just do this. And then from Kenosha, let's pretend like we have to navigate around the delta. So let's go DCT. Oh wait, DC. Let's go caps. DCT for direct KDPA. Then DCT. We'll go GYY. Oh, don't forget to put the space in. And then from GYY, it's pretty direct. Oh, I put that the wrong spot. There we go. And it's going to be ENW DCT. Awesome. Save. Yep, that looks like our route. Same route, right? iPad. Same, but different. Same, but different. Oh, wait. Well, okay, close enough. Like, we saw the route. That's a good enough route for me. iPad closed. And then we're going to send that to ATC and the avionics. And let's close our iPad. How do I close the iPad? Tab. There we go. And the time of day is, we're going to call for like an 8 a.m. departure. I feel like that's good. 8 a.m. departure. And let's get after it. I'm about it. Are y'all about it? Are there still people here? Boop-a-doo. Oh yeah, there are still people here. How's the people doing? How is all the people doing? All right, here we are in our super accurate for the mission at hand Albatross. Make sure all of our controls are set up properly. And what you call it? Cheese Pilot. Finally seeing you live. Thank you so much for all the videos. You helped me pass all my check rides and finally working in the airlines. I can't thank you enough. Well, congratulations. Congratulations. Come on, everybody. Let's drop some likes in the chat for Cinder Smith working in the airlines. That is awesome. You know, I actually got a call from a student the other day asking me how I like my airline, because I guess my airline has just bought his airline. Oh, don't tell me my controls aren't. Okay, so the rudder's hooked up. Why is everything else not working? Settings, controls. Yeah, it's not even registering that these are here. Great. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, no, those aren't even, why? Let me try this. There's technically power buttons on these things. No, those didn't work. All right. Uno momento. We need to figure out why our controls aren't working. Out of the seat. Because they're not plugged in. Ooh, what can I unplug? Is this important? Oh yeah, that's the Stream Deck. That's important. Is this important? Okay, let's follow this one. This one's not important. Well, at least it's not important right now. I forgot to play. Oh, there they are. There's all the controls. All right. We are back. Oh, where'd my headphones go? There's my headphones. It seems very much as though there's about a minute delay. Like there's actually a fairly substantial delay between what's getting presented to me. Oh, because I'm like way back here. let's bring this up to, there we go. Okay, we're back. We're back. Why can't I hear anything? All right. So rudder pedals, they work. Brakes, they work. Throttles, they work. Let's see. Throttles? Yeah. Ooh, oh no. Okay, so they kind of work. Also, settings, sound. Oh yeah, no, that's the right headset. Confirm. All right. Well, where's all the rest? Whatever. All right. We got to set up our controls. Seems like alpha controls. Well, these are probably going to be right. It's these controls. Specific albatross. All right. Well, let's do this then. Let's go throttle. Okay, so that's the joystick. Throttle axis 1. It's going to be this one. Throttle axis 2 is going to be this one. Props. Prop. Oh, no. Propeller. How do you spell propeller? Yep, that's how you spell propeller. Propeller axis 1 is going to be this one. Propeller axis 2 is going to be this one. And let's go for mixture. And mixture axis 1 is going to be this one. And mixture axis 2 is going to be this one. Awesome. That should get us, at the very least, off the ground. Kesu was one of my stops on my solo cross country for my private pilot. Passed it in January. That's awesome. Congratulations. You should do a video teaching about seaplanes and ratings. Yes, I will. I just have to get my airplane back. I just have to get my airplane like ready to go. Okay, so there's the throttles. I can't hear the engines though, which is concerning. Are we paused? I feel like we're the engines are dead. Why'd the engines die? Oh, because let's get these things spinning up. Yes, I very much have the intention of doing seaplane content. It's just it takes. I have to get my airplane back in one piece again, and once it's back in one piece, then we can start making the content. All right, let's try this. We're gonna go Control E because that is the way that you auto start everything. Because these, I'm just gonna be honest, I am not rated, capable, or competent to actually get an albatross started. There we go. Look at that thing, just firing up. Oh, I know why I can't hear anything. Settings, sound, headphone simulation. Resume. There we go. That sounds better. All right, so we got one started. Is it going to start the other one for me too? Oh, there we go. All right, so it wants them both rich. There we go. Other one's cranking. We got one going. Props are forward. Is it louder if I open the window? It is louder if I open the window. That's always fun. But I heard there's a bunch of people that have finished their private pilot by now. Is anybody going on for anything else other than just private pilot? All right, so let's set flaps 1. Let's set supercharger. I always forget. Is the supercharger forward or backwards? Yeah, let's set supercharger backwards so that we can actually engage the supercharger, because this is actually a fairly short runway. Are we ready to roll? I think we're ready to roll. So brake supply, power's in, let the power build. Release the brakes. Release the parking brake. Let's get rolling. Does your co-pilot in the sim have a name? Yeah, flap operator. All right, we're in the right range. Get up. Gears coming up. Gears in transit. We have plenty of speed. Let's get those flaps up. Let's bring our manifold pressure back into the green. Let's bring our RPM back into the green. And we are on our way up. Now we can bring our supercharger back because there's absolutely no reason for us to be cranking out the supercharger still. So now we can bring the throttle in just a little bit more. I have my check ride in 2 weeks. You're nervous. Well, I am sorry that you're nervous, but let's be honest here. You've already passed the check ride. Like that's really what I tell a lot of students. If your instructor is worth a damn, you have already passed the check ride by now. This isn't a matter of, oh, I still need to pass the check ride. You've already done it. You have already done it. The only thing you need to do is prove it to somebody else now. That's it. That's all you got to do. You've already passed it. Just prove it to the DPE now. All right, GPS. We're a little slow. Let's go ahead, get a little more scoochums in. And let's take it on up to 3,500. So let's set our altitude. You know, I have this right here. So let's actually set 3,000. We'll call it 4,500. We are still slow. Let's add a couple more scoochums in there. Go 4,500. Let's go. Let's set an indicated airspeed. Oh, it's not going to give me indicated airspeed. There we go. Let's set an indicated airspeed of 115. Give it a little more props. And we'll engage altitude mode. Oh, no. Indicated airspeed. Flight level change. On up to... What is our VY? Oh, that's vertical speed. I want indicated airspeed. There we go. Let's set VY, because that's going to be our best rate of climb. Then it's going to grab it, and we're going to be on the way. Just bingo Cheese's video. Yeah, I mean, that is, I mean, because that's where most people fail. Most people do fail. If you're gonna fail, right? Now, let me rephrase that. If you are going to fail, you're gonna fail on the oral. You're not gonna fail on the flight. And that's where most people do fail, is in the oral. If you make it to the flight, you've already kind of proved to the DPE that you're not a moron. Oh my, this the vertical options that YouTube has given is kind of terrible. It's kind of terrible. All right, alt. So our altitude is captured. But as I was saying, if you're gonna fail, you're gonna fail on the oral. If you make it to the flight, you're gonna pass, most likely, right? You know, if you really screw something up, obviously, like nobody's gonna, like, you're not gonna pass if you really screw something up. Let's bring that back. Let's bring this mixture back. Do we have an EGT? That's fuel flow, 100 gallons per hour. Well, I guess I'm looking for, I guess these are turboprops. Why do I have control of the mixture in a turboprop? Oh, there's the torque. I just saw a huge torque drop off. So I'm assuming that was kind of where okay, so I see torque. Let's reduce it till we see reduction in torque. I see a reduction in torque. Let's give it a little bit back. King of the mock checkers. I wouldn't necessarily say king of the mock check rides. I mean, I do my best to ensure that I'm preparing students for for their training. Like, it doesn't make any sense for me to like fake something, you know? How do I make the goddamn chat bigger? Normally, like, it's a web page. I should be able to zoom it. There we go. Oh, too big now. Ah, come on. Zoom. All right. 175 should be enough. Pop out chat. And then back up to the teleprompter. Okay, now King. Okay, yeah, Cheese, King of Mock Check Rides. Your IFR vids have been super helpful. Waiting on weather and schedule to go. While I keep watching your videos to stay sharp. Well, thank you for watching the videos. It helps me afford, going out to air shows and doing stuff. Right. It helps me afford all the things associated with, well, flying, with trying to be, a resource for y'all and trying to, like, I guess, be friendly, right? I got about 60 hours in 172 with G5s, but the school decided to change planes 3 months ago, a DA-20 six-pack, and I'm struggling with my maneuvers now. Well, here's the thing. You're private pilot, right? You're going for private pilot. The instrument package shouldn't be a limiting factor, right? If I remember, the DA-20s are a little underpowered. Is the DA-20 like 150 horse? I feel like the DA-20 is like 150 horse. Let me know if I'm right. I know there's a little bit of a delay, but let me know. Is the DA-20 150 horse? Because if it is, what you really need to do is just have a little bit more throttle throw, right? When you increase the throttle, oh, it's 125, right? So you went from 172s with 180 horsepower, right? And then you went to DA-20s with 125. Where your issue is they glide a lot more. They have a lot wider, they have a lot longer wing, and it's a lot narrower. So what this means is you have you have so much less drag. And I know the 172 isn't really a draggy airplane, but that's called aspect ratio. And the greater your aspect ratio is, the greater lift you generate for the same surface area of wing. So if I had a wing with 100, feet of surface area, I could generate 100 units of lift. Now, if I end up making a wing that's shorter with that same 150 or 100, 100 feet of surface area, so it's deeper, so it's wider, it's thicker, there's more wing from front to back of the airplane, I'm going to generate less lift in that wing. I'm going to generate more drag relative to the surface area of the wing. Now, if I was to take that same 100 feet of surface area of that wing, and I would stretch it out to a much longer wing, but make it narrower, I would end up with more lift and less drag relative to that that surface area, right? If all things the same. Obviously, things are different, right? In the Diamond, you've got a low wing, so you don't have as much of that keel effect that's trying to right you back into it. You've got a little bit more of that dihedral effect, which can feel wobbly. You also have a longer wing, as we've kind of said a number of times, so you end up with a lot more adverse yaw. And again, since you have less of a keel, you have less of that body that's going into the wind, you can definitely feel as if the rudder might be a little more twitchy, right? Let me know if I'm correct or if I'm talking out my ass, because that's the stuff that I know, right? The Albatross is such a cool airplane. Me and my wife tried to buy one. We actually tried to buy an Albatross. There was one that was up for auction down near DC. There was an Albatross that was up for auction down near DC, and it had sat for 17 years. Okay. It landed with a hydraulic leak. So here, we'll drop the gear so that you can see what I'm talking about. So you can see the gears coming down. Now, the gear actuator is actually right here. I don't know if you saw that, but that is the actual gear actuator. You see how that thing functions? Well, the hydraulic line that runs down to this gear actuator blew. The downlock switch that tells the gear, like, hey, you're down, it didn't engage. That switch didn't engage, and what that meant is the pump kept running and it kept building pressure. It kept building pressure. Blew out that line. It blew out the line that ran to that gear actuator, and they landed. Gear was down, but they landed there, and as we said, gear was down. It had a hydraulic problem. What I assume happened, and what a number of other people in the community assume happened, is they didn't turn off the pump, so it ran the pump dry, so the pump grenaded itself. Um, when the pump grenaded itself, obviously that's a huge expense. Now, the other thing that we probably noticed was the this one really sucks. The long wing version of the Albatross, they extended the wing by using steel spars and they riveted them to aluminum spars. You remember the Albatross is from the 40s and 50s. This was before stainless steel existed. You know, go talk to your grandma about this shit. Like that's the reason silverware is called silverware, is because it was either silver or steel or aluminum that was plated with silver, right? Because stainless steel didn't exist, right? Since stainless steel didn't exist, they used just raw steel to rivet to these aluminum spars, which dissimilar metal. The thing lived in the ocean for 12 years as well, and we're assuming that this dissimilar metal corrosion had gotten to a point that was just not repairable. So when they did when the hydraulic line burst, they called a mechanic out to come inspect it and reinstall that, replace that hydraulic line. And what we're assuming happened, since that hydraulic line runs through the wing, the mechanic pulled the inspection plate to run the new hydraulic line, and he saw the spar and was like, "Nah, fucking out. I don't want nothing to do with this." Um, so, which sucks because, like, it's a cool airplane, right? The Albatross is a cool airplane. I want one. Jimmy Buffett flew one. They are an awesome goddamn airplane. But when you can't afford it, you can't. When you can't afford to fix it, what are you going to do? What is something you wish you knew before becoming a CFI to make you better at teaching your students? Bring the information to the students is really my biggest takeaway when it comes to what I wish I knew before I started instructing. Bring the information to the students. Students are dumb. Like, not like, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be facetious. I'm not trying to be a dick. But like, let's be honest. Students, not very smart. But that's not their fault, right? That this is a new thing. So try to figure out where the student is before you just start spouting information at them. Try to figure out how much they know. Try to figure out how you can make this comparison. For example, us in the States, we have all probably driven a car, right? We've all probably driven a car at one point in our life, so we can make that comparison, right? We can make the comparison to a car. But a lot of my international students, they've never driven a car. They've never driven a car. So if I was to make a comparison saying, hey, grab the yoke and turn left like you would in a car, they go, I've never driven a car. What do you mean turn left like in a car? What, like, is it the same? Right? And I know that's a pretty big difference, right? But with that in mind, like, hey, okay, they don't understand what a car is, but they've all ridden bicycles, they've all ridden scooters, right? So try to figure out where the student is and how you can bring the information to them, as opposed to you just like vomiting words at them. 'Cause they're not gonna respond to word vomit, right? I don't know why my flight events is not um it's not coming up. Like, I'm a little crabby about that. Cuz yeah, that's on USB. Let's try this. Let's try and connect this to a different Wi-Fi. Let's go to a different Wi-Fi signal and see if we can, because I've got a couple different Wi-Fi signals in my house, and let's use a different IP address. Four and 9.5. Also, a really big thing that you need to know when it comes to being an instructor is be humble, right? Be humble and know when you need to reach out for help. Know when you need to actually go and get more information. Know when you need to find another instructor to help. Why are we not? Whatever. Cheese Pilot, I watch your channel a lot. You really helped me stay ready for my check ride. Well, good luck on your check ride. Come back. Let us know how it goes. I know I don't really go live that often. Let's go back into the airplane so that we can monitor some stuff. And I think there's some lights that we can turn off. So those are all on. Yeah, let's retract the landing lights. And let's turn them off. Landing light retracted, landing light retracted. Let's go out there and make sure that they actually got retracted. The Airbus has the same thing. It has landing lights that pop out, and you could see them right about there. See, they actually swing down. Using the flight computer on my cross country is a nightmare. Any hard questions, I'll definitely need to prepare for my check ride. Well, thank you for the $5. I really do appreciate that. But the E6B is not that difficult. Remember, it's estimations. You are not looking for super accuracy. You are not looking for cutting hairs. You're like, okay, is it going to take me 5 hours or is it going to take me 5 minutes? Is it going to take, I'm not asking, is it going to take you 5 minutes and 35 seconds plus or minus 2? I'm asking you, can you give me a ballpark estimation of how long and how many miles it's going to be for us to get to whatever we're getting to? Does that make sense? Is there any regulation about how your plane has no paint and there's no tail number painted on it? I'm actually going to use tape. I'm going to use tape for my tail number. So I do have to have some kind of visible tail number. There is I do have that requirement. But I'm just going to use tape. I'm just going to put some duct tape on the side of it to make those letters. I'm lucky it's a small tail number. All good questions though. All good questions though. I love it. I love it. And again, any other good questions? Any other stuff? So I gotta check my phone real quick, make sure I don't have any important text messages. Nope, no important text messages. I don't understand why ForeFlight is not connecting to, because it says it's connected. Like here, let me pull up my iPad. Maybe you guys can troubleshoot this for me. But here's my iPad. You can see flight events. It's connected. Enabled. Maps. Nope, not enabled. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on here at all. I was really hoping to kind of like bring y'all along for the journey. I guess we could just pull up a map, or well, we could look up here. Let's see. So we are just about to Manitowoc. Yeah, we're just about to Manitowoc. There's our full route. It's not bad, not bad. Awesome. Well, I guess we're going to close the iPad, given that the iPad's not really going to show us anything. Nice to know. Gonna have to post it on Instagram, your duct tape artwork. That was the plan. That was, yeah. My class 1 medical got deferred for me taking Lexapro, which is FAA approved. But do you know anyone who's gone through the process of going to see a HIMSS AME? Okay, so here's the thing. Just because a medication is approved by the FAA does not mean that you aren't going to catch flack for it. It does not mean that the FAA is just going to go, hunky dory, there you go. There is no CACI or an AME can approve for. I forget what CACI actually stands for, but CACI is the acronym. And what a CACI is it's something that originally would have disqualified somebody. So for example, what is it? Wegovy, semaglutides, GLP-1 medications. Those things were intended for diabetes. Well, if you've got a pilot that's taking diabetes medication, well, they have diabetes then, don't they? Well, no, because we're not taking it for diabetes. We're taking it for weight loss. We're taking it for appetite control, appetite suppressant, right? So what the FAA has done is they've built a form, a CACI, that they give to AMEs and say, hey, look, if they're on this medication and they meet these requirements, you can issue a medical. There is no CACI for Lexapro. There is no CACI or CACI for any depressants, mood altering substances. There are no CACIs for them. You have to get a special issuance, no matter if the FAA approves it. Okay. So, given that the FAA has approved Lexapro, means that there is a streamlined process for you to get back to the flight deck or for you to get your medical certificate if you're a student pilot. This streamlined process is still going to suck and it's still going to cost you 10 grand. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go find a human intervention and motivation study AME. I recommend Keith Lemon out in Seattle. He's my AME. He charges $300 an hour. I know that's expensive, but what's, is it worth it to you kind of thing, right? But here's the thing. He got me my medical back. He got me a bunch of my buddies who have gone through him have gotten their medicals back. So I definitely recommend Northwest Aerospace Medicine. Northwest Aerospace Medicine is the website. But if you just look up Keith Lemon, it's either two N's or two M's. I forget if it's two N's or two M's. But either way, it's two of one of those consonants. And reach out to him. He'll I'm pretty sure you're going to get squared away by him. All right. Just got my new FAR aim and tabbed it off myself to get better with knowing what sections I need to know most. It's a great way to do it. I recommend using the app though, because here's the thing. You can tab out the book. Are you carrying that book on every flight? Are you referencing that book whenever you've got a question? Don't lie to me. Don't be a dirty fibber, because we all know that you're not. We all know that that's not the case. We all know that you are not referencing the FAR aim every time you've got a question. You text in your buddy, you text in your flight instructor. So get the app. If you really want to get familiar with the FAR aim, get the app, you buy it once, and then you'll use it all the time. Even as an airline pilot, if I've got a question, I'm like, okay, do you know? No? All right, let's look at the FAR aim. And I pull it up on my phone. And it's locally saved on your phone. Like, it's not something that, it's not like, oh, well, I don't have signal, so I can't look something up, right? What are my thoughts on AI taking over the future? Here, let's do something real quick. Let's do something real quick. Let me see. Let me just make sure. Let's pull up ChatGPT. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull up my primary monitor, and we're going to go new chat. Hey, what's the difference between a 737 and a DC-9? Make it. And can you explain how to fly them? Let's see what they come up with. All right, let's see what they come up with. Two underwing engines modernized continuously since the 1960s, designed around efficiency, commonality, and systems logic. DC-9 is two tail-mounted engines, 1960s, very pilot in the loop. None of this says anything. There's nothing here. Engines underwing give natural pitch stability, thrust changes causes relatively predictable pitch moments. They don't. The 737, especially the 900s, you gob that power. There is a special system in those 7.3s so that you have enough trim authority to counteract those engines. The DC-9 feels sporty, while the 7.3 feels civilized. What does that even mean? Am I concerned about AI taking my job? No, not even in the slightest. Because this is what it comes up with. Now, I found... Who did you find? Huh, that's odd. Let's see. Filter. Color correction. Okay, that's better. I didn't realize that that color was so off. I found a HIMS AME in OK City, like 4 hours away. So I'm just gonna send it. I want to be a pilot, so doing what I got to do. I'm going to Polaris. Polaris. I see. I don't know. I don't know anything about them. I know Bruce Chen is a douche. I wouldn't recommend him to anybody. And me saying that online, he's probably going to try to sue me now. But not slander. It's my personal opinion. I don't like that individual. When do you believe single pilot ops will become a thing? I don't. Why? Why would they become a thing? Like, let's be honest. Like, you've got, especially just given the like how many legs some of these pilots are flying, right? You think of like a Southwest pilot. Those pilots are doing 8 legs a day. Could you imagine doing that alone? Like regional pilots, they're doing 6 to 12 legs a day. Again, could you imagine doing that alone? It's dangerous. There is nothing safe about a single pilot operation. Because here's the thing, if we're going to have a single pilot operation, that's a single point of failure, meaning if that point fails, everyone dies. Unless we can have an airplane that if it recognizes that the pilot is incapacitated, it can get itself on the ground every single time. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Sure, Garmin has developed like safe return to land kind of systems, right? Where the passenger can press a button and the aircraft will land. But here's the thing. It required intervention. It required somebody to go, we are not safe. We need to get on the ground. Are you going to trust? Are you going to buy a ticket on an airplane that decides on whether or not you're going to go to your destination? I'm not. I'm not going to trust that. I don't want that. I don't want that in my life one bit. What will the airplane look like after it's painted? Fancy. You're gonna have to follow along. You're gonna have to follow along. Yeah, just hit that subscribe button, smash some likes while you're here, and make sure you go follow on Instagram, because that's gonna be the first place that it happens. It's gonna be the first place you're gonna see the content associated with the new paint job. So go drop a follow over on Instagram, and we'll see you when it's painted. But EASA recently stopped researching single pilot. I don't think it's going to happen either. Like it's never going to happen. There is no safety point. Like it's not going to happen. There's way too much risk involved, right? Like if we still lived in a world where the cockpit wasn't locked, like, because you got to remember, like before 9/11, the cockpit, like the door to the flight deck, it was a curtain. It was a curtain at most, right? It was open. The pilots could come and go as they please. They could go talk to the passengers, right? It was an entirely different environment. So here's the thing. If we got to a point where the door wasn't required, where the flight deck door wasn't required, maybe we could go to single pilot ops. Because if that single pilot is incapacitated, there is no way that somebody is getting into that flight deck to fix that problem. It's not going to happen. There's there's stuff I can't say, there's stuff I can't talk about, but what I can say is that you're not getting in there to fix the fact that the pilot's incapacitated. What's my favorite part about the flying boat? The fact that it's a flying boat. Like, I mean, they're faster than seaplanes, right? They're faster than, standard old seaplanes, right? Let's go and we'll open up Trade a Plane real quick. Let's go Trade a Plane. Let's go to trade. So here we got a browser up. Where'd OBS go? And sim screen. So here we are, Trade a Plane. And let's go to special use. Let's go to amphibious and float. So here's the thing. Here's a 172. Oh, damn, that's actually a really good price for that. Is that straight floats or is that amphibs? Oh, wait a minute. That's on straight floats. Okay. So here we go. This is a 172. It comes with the wheels, but it's straight floats. And it is 160 grand for a 172. And guess what? A 172 up on floats is going to do about 95 knots, and you're only going to be able to carry one, maybe two people in it. And it is $160,000. If you want something with some actual scoochums and some actual like lifting force, I mean, you're looking at something like this, and I mean that's $500,000. Now let's look at a lake. So here, oh, there's a Sea Fury. Oh, I want it. I want it. I want it so bad. Why can't I afford things like this? All right, whatever. We're not gonna sit here and cry over the Sea Fury. But let's look at a Lake 200. So this isn't the high performance model like mine, but it's still a Lake 200, and it's 86. It's $87,000. So it's faster. You're gonna do about 105 in this, while that 172 you're gonna do about 95 maybe. You can carry 4 people in this airplane, and still put it on the water. You can't do that on a 172. Now, some of the issues with a lake, there is no factory to support them, right? There is absolutely no factory to support the lake series of aircraft. So I mean, you're building parts, you're making stuff. Like it can be a hassle sometimes. Like look at this 1966 Lake 180. There's a reason it's been sitting, and there's a reason it's in the shape that it's in, because they don't feel like maintaining it anymore. So LA, 1,200 hours on the engine, 1,200 hours since new. So I mean, it's low time. Wing and tail spar AD compliant, vortex generators, hull stiffener kit, shower of sparks ignition. Last annual was 2014, so over a decade ago. Log mix prior to 1987 are missing, but I mean, this thing is in some rough shape. But it's only going to take you like 20, 30 grand to get this thing back up and flying. And you're going to be on the water for half of a 170, for half of a 172 up on floats. Let's go back. Let's go back to that. You know, if you wanted a comparable airplane, if you wanted something comparable to a lake up on floats traditionally, you'd be looking at, let's see if we can find one. See if a lot of people are selling their icons. A lot of people selling their icons. Oh, I just heard something on the sim. Are we good? Oh, somebody's fucking around. Who's here? Who's here? Yeah, I wish I could afford a turbine goose. Let's go back to Trade a Plane for a second. So yeah, the goose, of course. I wish I could afford a turbine goose. But I mean, you've got this 09 Republic CB. This would be a nice. This I'm not gonna lie. This would be nice. I think this is the one that's LS swapped too, if I remember correctly. Oh, come on, show me the engine. Show me the engine. Show me the engine. Oh, is it not going to show the engine? Who's out there? There's somebody out there. Engine mods. Yeah, it's an LS2, 340 horsepower LS2, which is, it's kind of fun. Don't do that. I don't like that. Don't do that. There we go. The fact that they're affordable, the fact that they're faster, sure, they're a struggle to maintain sometimes, but they also handle really well on the water. Something up on floats, you don't have a whole lot of agility to them. A flying boat, it handles like a jet ski on the water. How do you mount your iPad to the honeycomb yoke? I 3D printed a little stand. That's it. I just 3D printed a little stand. Ooh, what's going on here? I saw a lot of jitteriness. Who is that? Let's see if we can close some stuff. I guess I can close that. I can close you. I can close you. Okay. Close. Confirm. Let's turn off my sim screen now so I don't accidentally. All right, awesome. How is LS being an automotive engine work in an aircraft? So what ends up happening is you get a gearbox. A couple companies make the gearboxes, but they actually use a centrifugal clutch in them as well. So like you can start the car or you can start the automotive engine, right? And it starts as if it's in neutral, and then it's like how when you have a chainsaw, you have to give it gas before it will engage the actual blade, before it will engage the actual chain. But the mechanism that does it is different, right? It's a solid connection, but it's centrifugally engaged. So what they do is you have, the LS can wrap itself up to like 67 or 7200 RPM, depending on which one you got, depending on what your internals are and stuff like that. But a prop obviously shouldn't be at that speed. A prop at most should be like, depending on the size of it, depending on what it's made out of, 3200 would be like the most that I would expect a prop to be at, because you can't let the tips exceed the speed of sound. You can't let the blade exceed the speed of sound, or else it cavitates, just like a propeller on a boat would. If it exceeds the speed of sound in water. So you have an upper RPM limit. So you have a gearbox that's centrifugally engaged to bring the propeller down while the engine can wrap up to an appropriate speed. I saw Jimmy's World was auctioning off that Aventura he has. What's an Aventura? I don't even know what that is. Aventura. How do you spell it? There you go. Oh, that's a airplane. Aventura airplane. Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess if you want one of those, for anybody who's confused, that's what we're talking about. I mean, I guess I'm not fond of them. They're kind of funny looking. Hey Cheese, wanted to drop a quick all-encompassing thank you for all your video. Oh, well, thank you. Oh. Student pilot from Southeast and Middle East? I don't know. With instrument airplane with no fails. Well, congratulations. Congratulations on absolutely no failures. No failure check. No check ride failures. Looks like we might have to climb because we're supposed to be VFR. So let's go ahead and get back into the airplane and let's resolve our. Oh, there's ice on the airplane. Woo! Let's see if we can climb on out of this ice. Let's see if we can climb on out of this. Because I'm under the impression that this thing does not have an anti-ice system. Oh, anti-icer, yeah. Okay, let's see if that works. That does not seem to be working. So let's go ahead and set a higher altitude. We'll head on up to 7,500, 6,500. That should clear us out of the clouds. And we'll go indicated airspeed. And we will just give it some more scoochums to maintain that indicated airspeed, but introduce a climb. There we go. Yep, we should be above them now. Commercial, single, and multi-engine. Sorry. Oh, sorry. You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. Seems like we might have to go. I have to actually bring that indicated airspeed down so that we can climb just a little better. Awesome. Awesome. Now let's go a couple more beans on this. We don't really want to over square these engines too much because you see how that torque, we don't want to over torque these engines. Let's reduce that fuel just a little bit more. Seems like we might have to actually take it on up to 7,500. We're not going to clear these clouds below 7,500. We might not even clear them as is. Indicated airspeed. Why are you not pitching for VY? There we go. There we go. Any questions about what we're going through? Does anybody not understand what I just did? Is anybody in the in the comments like, hey chat, like are you like looking at what I'm doing and like I don't understand that even in the slightest. I'm kind of curious. Why is it? Oh, because my pitot tube froze. That's why. Prop de-icer. Pitot heat. Heat. That's why my airspeed's not doing what it should be doing. Because it's probably frozen, which is concerning. Let's see if we can get that airspeed back. Come on. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. That's not good. That's not good. Oh. And people are over here like, we should do single pilot operations. No, this is exactly why we should not do single pilot operations. Because I wasn't paying attention, right? That was, whoo, doggy. Whoo, dog. I'm sitting here like, why are we not? Why have we not? What is going on? I climbed to get out of the icing conditions, get cold enough that ice can't form, really, is what I was looking for. Because we have de-icing, we have heat, we have stuff to get rid of the ice, but I just wanted to get out of the ice because it definitely seemed like it was building up. I can see that those seem like drop tanks. How do I drop the drop tanks? Are those the drop tanks over there? Oh no, that's the no smoking and seatbelt sign. I guess we could turn those on. Auxiliary fuel. All right. Cabin air, cowl flaps. Let's go ahead and close the cowl flaps. Go ahead and close the oil coolers. There's absolutely no reason for those to be on open. Flight instruments, yeah, those can stay on. Is there any way to drop those auxiliary tanks? There's got to be a way to drop the aux tanks. Oh, float tank, drop tank. Do you think it'll work? The hell, it's still out there. Okay. Radios are on. Drop tank. Maybe I have to empty them first? Yeah, let's transfer the fuel in from them. Where's my fuel gauges anyway? It's probably, oh, they're right there. Okay, that's good. 130 to 170? What is that? What are we talking about there? Why is this thing so slow? Let's go. All right. Seems like, are we bringing fuel in? I want to drop those things. I got to be able to drop these things. There's no way that they, what are those? I don't know what those are. We're going to leave those alone. Control 2, or is it Alt 2? Control 2, 1. 130 to 70 knots when the, oh yeah. Yeah, that was terrifying. I did not expect that. Okay, so aux tanks. Is there fuel out there? I hope there's fuel out there. I just switched to them. That looks like, I'm assuming it changes that indicator when, let's see. That's off. We want main tank. Let's see. Main tank. I don't know if it changes. Well, given that the engines didn't die, what is this? It doesn't seem to do anything. Given that the engines didn't die, I'm assuming we're good. Okay, so there's the water rudder. Nice to find that. But I do not see a way to drop the ox tanks. That sucks. I really wanted to drop the ox tanks. All right, we're up at 7,500 now. How much longer on this flight? Let's go ahead and we're going to go down to our MFD. And we're going to go flight plan. Looks like we still have no idea. It's been so long since I've used the G1000 that I'm sitting here like, that's nearest active flight plan, auxiliary waypoint. No, nearest. No, that's not what I want. No, it's not gonna maybe do anything. Collapse airways, invert flight plan. No. Estimated time en route 16 minutes. I think that's just between these two fixes. How difficult and expensive was your Seaplane add-on, and where did I get my training? So I did my Seaplane add-on the most expensive way possible. I bought a fucking airplane. I don't recommend it. If you're trying to just get your Seaplane rating, just go down to Jack Brown's and spend $2,000 and get it done in a weekend, or, you know, a 3-day weekend, right? Unless you want to spend a lot of money, then come to me and I'll charge you $300 an hour, and it'll probably take us like 10 hours at a minimum. But how did I do it? So I really wanted a seaplane. So I started looking for one. I wanted an albatross, right? I wanted one of these, right? I wanted a fucking albatross. But then I like Googled, how much is an albatross? And Google's like, you're stupid. Why are you Googling this? Like, we all know that you can't afford it. You have $9 in your bank account. Why are you Googling this? Your wife is going to buy you this airplane anyway. Then I found out that albatrosses are like $400,000 and they require a type rating, and the type rating's like 20 grand, and it's a 2-pilot plane. So you need to spend 40 grand on training. Then you can't ever fly it alone. So albatross wasn't going to happen. So I was like, okay, well, they make a baby albatross. It's called a widgeon. How much is a widgeon? I was like, oh, well, those are also $400,000. So I was like, well, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. If the big one was 400, why is the little one 400? Well, it's because it doesn't require a type rating. It doesn't require all that extra stuff. And it only burns like 30 gallons, 40 gallons an hour at the most, when compared to the albatross that, let's go inside and let's see how much fuel this thing's burning. Right now in cruise, and this is with the new engines. This is with the new engines that are on this thing. It is burning 160 gallons per hour. Okay, so you see why the widgeon costs just as much as the albatross, because you get just as much fun, a little bit less space, and a quarter of the fuel burn. So then I was like, well, I can't afford a widgeon. That sucks. I really want a widgeon. Maybe one day I'll get a widgeon. Well, there's only like 30 widgeons left. I'm probably never going to get a widgeon. So I was like, well, let's think of something up on floats then, right? So I was like, okay, well, I want to carry me, I want to carry my wife, I might want to carry a buddy, and I want to carry enough camping gear that I'm not concerned about weight. So I was like, that's the 206 on floats it is. That's another $400,000 airplane. It's like every good seaplane is like right around $400,000. So I was like, okay, reevaluate my life. Let's take a look at the choices that I have made up until this point to make me regret the fact that I can't afford these airplanes. And then I saw a buddy, and then I saw a buddy fly a lake. And I didn't even realize that these were a thing. And I saw him cutting corners in that lake like a dang jet ski at 40 knots. And I went, that thing's pretty goddamn cool. What is that even called? And he told me, he was like, well, it's a Lake Buccaneer. This one's a Lake 180. If you really want to do what you want to do, I'd recommend a 200. If you can find an EP, I'd recommend getting an EP. So I started hunting for a Lake 200 because, well, I wanted the useful load. I wanted the speed. I wanted all that jazz because the Lake 180 is 180 horsepower, while the Lake 200 is 200 horsepower. But so I looked for a Lake 200 and I found a couple different ones, right? I found one, a Lake 200 up in Alaska that was buried in a snowbank. So I was like, okay, well, obviously that's not going to be the one. And I found one down in Tennessee, and the guy that owned it was kind of crazy, is kind of a lunatic. So I didn't buy that one. Then I found one in Indiana or Pennsylvania, and the guy like sent me the number of his mechanic. And when you send somebody a contact card, they get to see what you have named that contact in your contacts. Well, he named this guy Cheap Annual. I don't really want to buy an airplane from somebody who is naming their mechanics based on how cheap their maintenance is. Because if that's their goal, is just the cheapest maintenance possible, I don't really want to buy that airplane. I'm assuming like people can't really blame me for that. Like, I don't really want to buy an airplane that's been maintained by the lowest bidder. Does that make sense? So I didn't buy that one. So I was like, okay, well, it seems like maybe I'm never going to get a seaplane. Maybe I should start looking at other airplanes. Seems like a seaplane's not really realistic. And then I found mine, One Hotel Tango. It was for sale down in Kansas. And it was about 15 grand more than all the other lakes. And I didn't realize what an EP was, or the extended performance model was. I didn't realize what that was. I was just like, okay, well, it looks nice. It has an autopilot. It has a GPS. It's IFR capable. That's why it's $15,000 more. The rest of them, they were just VFR machines with alpha panels. Like they were rough. They weren't great. Okay. So I started talking to them. They wanted like 95 for it. I talked them down to 91. I had a down payment of $15,000. So I paid the down payment. I went down there, looked at it. I didn't pay the down payment. I went down there, looked at it, blah, blah, blah. And then, escrow cleared, and I flew the airplane home. But here's the thing. Since it's amphibious, it's a land plane. It's a land plane as long as I don't put it in the water. I even called the FSDO. I was like, hey, I just want to make sure I'm not doing something wrong here. They were like, it's got wheels on it and it doesn't fly any different just because it can float. Like a float plane obviously flies different because it can float, because they put floats on it. So you should learn how to fly a float plane if you're going to fly something with floats. But I mean, a Lake Buccaneer or a Lake 200, it flies like a lake, whether you're putting it in the water or not. So put it on the land, treat it like a land plane, log it in your logbook as airplane single engine land. So that's what I did. And I flew it home. Took me 9 hours in hard IFR in a 6-pack. Was rough. Was difficult. But I got it home. And then I went, shit, I don't have an instructor. I don't have anyone to teach me how to fly a seaplane. So I eventually found an instructor, and we put 10 hours on the plane, and he charged me $175 an hour for just the instructor because I had the plane. Yeah, $175 an hour. And we put 10 hours on it, and I got my seaplane rating. The most expensive way possible. I promise. I guess you could have bought an Albatross without a seaplane rating, and that would have been more expensive than the way I did it. But that's the thing. It's like, if you buy an Albatross, you're not getting a seaplane rating. Like, let's say you don't have a seaplane rating. You have single pilot land, right? Let's say all you've got is single pilot land or single engine land. You buy an Albatross, you're getting a type rating, meaning you can not have a multi-engine rating and just learn to fly the Albatross. And that type rating means you are legally allowed to fly it. You could still, on your basic non-type rating certificate, only have airplane single engine land, but then you put that type rating of Albatross on it, you can fly the Albatross. Now, this doesn't mean you can now go buy a widgeon because you don't have a multi-engine seaplane rating. You have an Albatross rating. Does that make sense? I don't even know if the chat is even still here. I feel like I've been rambling on a lot, and I feel like maybe the chat bounced. Let's see. Boom. Oh no, we still have like 20 people here. Oh, this is awesome. This is awesome. Drop some likes. I love them. Please. I thrive on your validation. But yeah, that was it was definitely an interesting way to get my seaplane rating. Just tuning in, Kaku boy. Well, here's the thing. On YouTube, you can do this really cool thing where you rewind it and then you put it at double speed so that you can catch up, and then you'll be here with the rest of us. Does that make sense? Right? So you just scroll back a little bit, put it at 2 times play, and just follow along, right? But we're in the Albatross. Do we really want to go all the way to POV, or do we want to put this thing in the water? And this is one of the biggest things. This is one of the biggest problems with owning a seaplane. When you're trying to go somewhere, you look down and go, well, okay, this is a bad example. This is a bad example. This is a really bad example. But like, you very often look down and you're like, oh, look, there's a lake. There's another lake. There's another lake. We could go land in all of these lakes. And then like, it ends up taking like 10 times as long because you went and fucked off in all these lakes instead of just getting to your destination. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. I feel like Lake Geneva should be nearby. Whiskey India 77. Let's see if we can find Whiskey India 77. Whiskey India. Oh, not emojis. 77. So we are just crossing over top of Whiskey India 77, which means Pewaukee Lake is right there. Let's go inside. Let's go land in. Oh yeah, Pewaukee Lake. It's right there. What's your favorite body of water that you've landed in? I like Kangaroo Lake. Kangaroo Lake up here in Door County is awesome. Because I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's a long lake, so it's easy to land in, and there's no wake there, so there's no worry about like jet skis and stuff like that. And what else? I'm trying to think of what else is awesome about. Let's go ahead and turn the autopilot back on. What else is awesome about Kangaroo Lake? Yeah, I mean, it's since it's a shallow lake, it usually stays fairly like warm relative to the other lakes around here, especially like Lake Michigan. But I also like Detroit Harbor up at Washington Island. That one's pretty cool. And Schoolhouse Beach up at Washington Island is also another awesome one. I would really love to land in Pewaukee Lake in real life, but the county says no. Since Pewaukee Lake is technically it's technically in a park, they don't want people going in and out of parks with airplanes. Which, like, I guess kind of fair, but like also, like, come on. All right, we're gonna go take a little dip in we got the beans in so that we can actually get there. All right, let's go ahead and bring these beans out. Can you land in lakes in controlled airspace? Yes. You do have to talk to the controlling agency, though. So I've landed in what's it called? What's it called? What's it called? The Fox River. The Fox River is technically within the Charlie of Green Bay. And like when you ask initially, they're like, I don't control that. And then you have to say, well, technically you do. Your airspace goes to the floor. The water is the floor, right? So once they kind of recognize that they are the controlling agency, then they're going to ask like, hey, well, like, I don't know if that's legal. And then you say, well, okay, I've asked, like, I've talked to the city and everything. They're okay with it. And then at least the clearances I have gotten, like when the Green Bay example, they said cleared to do you. They didn't say cleared to operate at own risk. They said cleared to do you, which I always thought was funny. So yes, it is legal. This is the Albatross. This is technically the Albatross 2.0, but it is an Albatross. And we're going to be landing in Pewaukee Lake, so we can think of this as a left downwind. We spent a lot of time at idle, so we should probably clear these engines, given that they are turboprops. Or not turboprops, they're radials. They're radials. It kind of sucks. I have my Pimax. Headset, but it's such a pain in the ass to get it going. I would love to like have it. You know what I need to do is have my Pimax set up so that I can like turn it on and throw it on as soon as I need to like land. What's my radar altimeter showing? My radar altimeter is showing right around 1,000 feet. So let's go ahead and bring a couple more beans in. Let's go ahead and drop one notch of flaps. Let's keep it above blue line because it is a multi-engine. A little bit more beans. I guess we flew a fairly wide downwind. I always forget that the Albatross has like relatively decent, like it feels like size and weight wise, it feels like an airliner. But then when like it's such a draggy airplane, once you pull the power out of her, she comes down. All right. Let's just take a peep. VYSE is 108. So, well, no, not VYSE. What's VMC? VMC is 91. So, yeah, let's keep it above 91 until we know that the landing is assured. All right, let's go for another notch of flaps. God bless Shepherd Air. Oh. All right, so I'm fairly certain landing's assured. Let's go power idle. Couple beans in to catch it. There we go. And let's settle her down on the water. And we're here. Doing everything but painting this airplane. Come on, I'll paint the airplane's gonna get painted. It's just not gonna be painted by me. Seems like that took a lot of power. Like took a lot of computing power. Oh, I thought that was my water rudder. Is that not my water rudder? Did that toggle my water rudder? Ooh. Oh, I could have swore that was my water rudder. Shit, where's my water rudder then? Nose down elevator. I don't see a water rudder on this thing. I know it has one. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and get these flaps up to a reasonable, to a good takeoff level. Go ahead and give her full. Let's engage the supercharger. Give it some right engine so that we can get facing along the water, along the waves. These are some fairly big waves for such a small lake. Ooh. Ooh. I mean, I know the Albatross is rated for 16-foot waves, but damn. Ooh, come on, bring in that other engine. Where's the other engine? What happened to the other engine? Are we good? We're good? Okay. All the engines are up. Go ahead and bring these last notch of flaps up. Kill the supercharger. All the beans are in. And let's continue on route. Let's go ahead. Autopilot. GPS. And we're going to go indicated airspeed, flight level change, indicated airspeed. Scroll that down to 111. Awesome. Yes, the Albatross was rated for 16-foot waves. It was a rescue vehicle. That's what it was intended for. It was intended to rescue sailors in rough seas. So, like, what else do you expect? The audio stream's current bit rate is lower than bit rate is ooh. Oh, engine shut down. Go back to the main tanks. Engine came back. I guess the auxes are empty. Oh yeah, like 16-foot waves would be an absolute fucking nightmare. Well, they're called splash and goes. I know some people call them splash and dashes. Okay, so that's RPM. I don't want that. I want to drop the... Okay. Did it drop them? Why are we not dropping the tanks? Drop the tanks! Oh, wait a minute. Am I looking at this wrong? Oh, float tank, drop tank. Oh. Let's see if we have fuel on that one. There is no fuel in that one. All right. Yeah, little splash and go. Little splash and go, splash and dash, whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it. Whatever floats your boat. Ah, seaplane joke. I'm sorry, that was a pretty bad joke. Have you ventured down the backcountry big wheel routes yet? No, I have not. I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I mean, I've gone like bush flying, I guess, like not like huge bush flying, but like I've gone like, what's on my iPad? Oh, this one right in front of me. It's my route, but for some reason the flight thing isn't working. So this is ForeFlight that's on my iPad. Oh damn. So it's just ForeFlight that's on my iPad, but I had some software that was supposed to like follow the airplane, but it just wasn't working. Like it was supposed to like simulate that it was supposed to connect my iPad to Microsoft Flight Sim, but it just wasn't working. So half the planes at my home airport are carbon cubs, makes me want one. They cost too much. Like you want to spend $500,000 to cruise around at 95, 100 knots? Like if you want a bush plane, go get the Bushliner. All right. I don't know if you've heard of this, but the Bushliner is where it is at. All right. Let me pull it up. Bushliner. FS to FF. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I used what was it called? I forget what it was called. But that's what I was using. It didn't work, and now I'm already kind of here. So it's like, so here's the Bushliner. Let's make this a little bit bigger. So you got 160 knots with a range of 1,400 miles. 2,000 pound useful load. Like, when you compare this to a freaking Carbon Cub, what? Like, there is no comparison. Like, there is absolutely no comparison. Let's see how much it is to reserve one. No. Reserve my Bushliner 1850. No payment required to proceed. Oh well, I don't want that. I just want to see cost. About leadership. Don't care. Okay, let's just Google Bushliner cost. The cost of a Bushliner can vary. I don't feel like that's right. I don't feel like that's accurate. Here we go. Like, look at this thing. Look at this thing. 4 seats, massive cargo. You got all. Oh, here's kind of pretty much what I was looking for, right? A comparison. So we've got usable load, 1,750 pounds. Max endurance, we got 1,000 miles. Lycoming 580. Okay, so acquisition cost. You got like a Legacy 180 or 185. You got the Bushliner at 300 grand. Right? So total, if you like do all kinds of upgrades and stuff, we're looking at $623,000. If you were to do the same thing with a 185, you'd be looking at $1 million. But $623,000 for all of the upgrades. Does that make sense? Now let's go look at a Carbon Cub. Carbon Cub cost. You know what? It's probably a better way to do this. Yeah, ChatGPT is a better way to do this. ChatGPT. Compare the Bushliner 1850 to a Carbon Cub. So, Carbon Cub, it's based on the 185, right? Or Bushliners based on the 185. Carbon Cub's just based on the Super Cub. When it comes to the Carbon Cub, or when it comes to the Bushliner, you've got a useful load of roughly 2,000 pounds. When it comes to a Carbon Cub, you've got a useful load of about 1,000 pounds. You've only got 2 seats. You got 4 seats in the Bushliner. Cruise, as we said, 130 to 150. I guess the Carbon Cub's 110 to 135 miles per hour. So I mean, we're looking at, you know, a true comparison, 96 to 117. Range 630 to 795. Payload, practical, cost of ownership. So I guess a Carbon Cub is going to cost you about 300 grand, while a Bushliner is going to cost you about 600. So I guess twice the price for twice the plane. Okay, I guess I can see why you would want a Carbon Cub. I would rather a Bushliner. Like if you're going to spend money, what was it? I heard somebody talk about this a while back, right? I would rather spend twice as much and be happy with my purchase than buy the cheaper item and the cheaper item that technically fills the role and be unhappy with it, right? The idea, like if I'm gonna buy bed sheets, I'm gonna go spend $150 on bed sheets. I'm not gonna buy bed sheets to be scratchy, right? The same thing can apply to like air conditioning. That's a really good example. Air conditioning is a really good example. I'm already going to run the air conditioner and it's already going to cost me, example, $100 a month. At that $100 a month, I'm going to be miserable. It's going to still be hot. It's going to still be humid. If I run it for another $50, I'm going to be comfortable. I would rather spend the 150 and be comfortable than spend 100 and be uncomfortable. I would rather spend 600 on a bush liner and have an airplane that can do every damn thing I want it to do than just buy a carbon cub and be limited by weight and be limited by range and be limited by passengers. Does that make sense? I mean, at the end of the day, a carbon cub, it's a dirt bike. Is there any utility that you can get out of a dirt bike? But that's just my point of view. I don't know if we're actually going to make it. Like, this is a long goddamn flight. We are just about to Kenosha, and like, I am pouring the coals to it. We're at 38% on fuel. Yeah, so I mean, I guess that does really depend, right? What is your mission? Like, what's the value that you're trying to gain with a carbon cub? Like, what are we trying to accomplish by buying a carbon cub? Is it really just, hey, let's go fuck off and have fun? Then I mean, sure, go buy a carbon cub. But like, if you're like, oh well, I want to buy a carbon cub because I want to go fly the bush, I want to go camping, I want to go hunting, I want to go on um I want to go on adventures, right? The carbon cub is definitely going to limit you. Yes, can you accomplish adventures in a carbon cub? Sure. Any of y'all here probably know Dirtbag, right? Dirtbag pilot. He flies a 150. The guy weighs 210 pounds. Just his weight alone is taking up, like, just his weight alone is taking up half of that useful load, right? And I mean, a bushliner versus a carbon cub, I mean, repair wise, I feel like it's going to be equivalent, right? It's based on the Cessna 185. Here's the thing, just because the airplane's initial purchase price was more doesn't necessarily mean it costs more to repair. Like, let's compare a Cessna 182 to the Lake 200. Cessna 182, if I need to do maintenance on it, like, for example, if I need a cylinder for my Cessna 182, that's going to cost me $2,600. If I need a cylinder for my Lake, it's $3,400. My Lake is half the price, if not a third of the price of a 182, right? So, like, now, I mean, if you total it, fucking have insurance. Like, if you can't afford to buy it twice, have insurance. We are at 179 knots. I guess we might need fuel. Yeah, we're at 37%. We've burnt through our auxiliary. We're currently burning 310 gallons per hour. Why is the fuel gauge in... That's weird. Well, okay, let's look at this then. Endurance. We have 2 more hours that we could run. You know what we could do? Is this thing has a service ceiling of like 20,000 feet. What we can do is this. Let's go on up to 17. Let's keep it out of the flight levels. Let's go indicated airspeed. And let's bring it down to our VY of 111. And let's just get on up there and let's get a higher true airspeed. 111, engine's good. Let's see if we can give her the supercharger to maintain. Ooh, we need to bring that back just a touch. All right, so supercharger's in, mixture's in, we're good. I am not flying on VATSIM primarily because there was no controllers on. There was absolutely no controllers on in my area, so it didn't make sense for me to go through the whole process of setting up VATSIM for there to be no controllers. So what you're going to see is as we continue our climb, our gallons per hour is reducing. So we're currently at 312, 311, right? The engine is using less fuel. It is compensating slightly. Have I tried say intentions? Yeah, but I'm not willing to pay for. I hate the idea of paying for something that's not finished. Finish your product and then sell it to me. You want me to test your product? You want me to help you make it better? Offer it ad based, offer it for free, offer it in a way in which, like, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to test your product, I'm an employee. Don't you dare ask an employee to pay you to be your employee. You know what I mean? So we're above 10. What is our true airspeed? Can we get a true airspeed on this thing? Let me check my phone, make sure. No, it doesn't seem like I can get true airspeed on this. That's weird. I kind of expected I'd be able to get true airspeed on this thing. So prop's good. Manifold pressure is continuously dropping, so we're gonna keep increasing our manifold pressure as we climb. Beyond ATC is a one-time payment. It's pretty solid. Also has real-world injection. You know, I might have to do Beyond ATC because I know, like, what's it, like $50 or something like that for Beyond ATC for one-time payment? So I might have to set up Beyond ATC because, like, there's nobody on VATSIM and it just doesn't, like, it kind of ruins it if you like go through all the effort of setting it up and then they just like, okay, hey, there's no controller to hand you off to. Bye. Like, oh, that kind of sucks. Oh, $30 for a one-time payment. I think I might have to just get that. Also the other kind of problem is like I don't go live that often. So like $30, like I haven't made that back in live streams. You see what I'm saying? Because like let's be frank, this is the business. The business. We doing business. It's just business, right? And it's not personal, it's just business. Right? There's gotta be some return on value, some return on cost, return of investment. That's the words. That's the appropriate words. So given that I don't stream that often, it's like, I don't know. Maybe. Now that I'm done working on my airplane, I might stream more often. Given that, well, I'm not working on my airplane anymore. And that was what was taking up 96.7% of my time. I don't know where I came up with that. 96.7. Like, there's not actually a thing. All right. Let's get this back up to that 45 inches of manifold pressure. We are almost at full power. Like we have just a smidgen of throttle left to give it. Let's see. We'll pushing it up will definitely take it over into the yellow line. But we're still doing 1,500 feet per minute up. I mean, 1,500 feet per minute up, that is solid. By the way, the Albatross has like 1,850 horsepower per side. Like this thing has like 3,700 horsepower in total. So yeah, that explains the 1,500 foot per minute climb rate at 110. It's got a pretty solid VYSE though, because like if VY, where'd VY go? Yeah, VY being 111, VYSE being 108. I mean, that's pretty goddamn safe. And we got VMC way down there at 91. I mean, that's solid. That's solid. That's a worst case scenario, by the way. That published VMC is like most forward CG. Like all the negative things that affect VMC. I'd have to go look at them. I don't remember them off the top of my head. But that's worst case scenario. So actual VMC is probably substantially lower. Yeah, all right. I think y'all might have convinced me. I might have to get like if I stream more often, will y'all bring your buddies along? Like is there value here? Because that's kind of my like issue with streaming is I always feel like maybe I'm like wasting your time. And if I'm wasting your time, I'm obviously wasting my time. But like if there's value added here for y'all, then like I'm about it. I'm about it. I'll stream. I ain't gonna like, especially on days like this, right? I ain't got shit going on. Like, what else? Like, what else am I gonna do? I'm kind of hungry though. I might go to Taco Bell after this. All right, that's all the beans. That is all the beans. There are no more beans to give. We have gone full curd on this bird. This is fun. It's good to take a break from my IFR training, studying for my IFR. Well, given that we're about to enter IFR, what do I need? No, I'm just fucking with you. So we're going to leave that supercharger engaged because I bet if I drop this supercharger out, yeah, look, we dropped all the way down to 30 inches of manifold pressure. Yeah, we're going to leave that supercharger engaged and we're going to leave it at full beans. We're going to see, we're going to bring the power back, bring the mixture back until we see a drop okay, there's that drop off in torque. Okay, so we're burning 306 an hour. Let's see what our true airspeed ends up being. It's also fun seeing you fly over airports I train out of. I fly out of ENW. Oh, I've probably heard you on the radio before. Okay, where are we? Oh, we passed ENW. Okay, so we are cooking on through Chicago's airspace. All right, so we are doing Mach 0.3. What is our VNE? Do we have a VNE? We've got to have a VNE. Cruise. Well, I guess it's probably published on here. So we're doing Mach 0.34. So we're doing 34% of the speed of sound. And I mean, we're still accelerating. She got beans. She got beans to spare. It is kind of weird that like this airplane doesn't have prop levers. Have y'all noticed that? There are no prop levers on this airplane. Like it's got prop switches. See, so if I grab in the middle, see how that increases my RPM? Grab in the middle, it decreases my RPM. That's super weird that it does not have prop switches. But I guess we can bring these props back to like 2000 RPM, make it a little quieter for the passengers. Maybe we'll bring it up just a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, I mean, we're not too torqued out. I'm all right with that. A little bit of turbulence up here. I can see we're like right in a layer, but I don't know if we'd actually be able to get up high enough to get there. Oh well, you know, if you I mean if you're up here, like let's do a little formation stuff, you know? Like no. But no, I mean I'm happy to go fly with people and whatnot, you know. Reach out. I am friendly. If actually there's people that monitor the radios up here in Sturgeon Bay, so like if you fly up here and you ask for me on the radio, somebody will probably text me. So like there's people that listen to the radios and they know me, right? I mean I live here. So if you shoot off on the radio like, yo, I'm looking for Cheese Pilot, somebody might text me. Like I'm not making any promises, but somebody may feel so inclined to shoot me a text. But we are coming up on just about 2 hours, so let's start thinking about a diversion because I am hungry. Let's take a look at our iPad. Looks like we could probably just make it to DePage and call it good at DePage. Let's see. Let's see if we can get some weather at DePage. So it's KDPA. Let me pull it up on my iPad. Where is DePage? Let me just do this. KDPA. A. Go. All right. The page ATIS is 132.07. So, oh yeah, radios are up here. Let's see if we can even get it. We're kind of far out. 132.07. No, not DME. Wind. Option 1. Option 2. Option 3. Yeah, sure. Back. All right, that's fine. 132.07. Yep. Doesn't this thing have a keypad? No, it does not. Damn. 132.07. Yeah, it doesn't seem like I'm picking up. It seems like I should be picking up DePage weather. Can y'all hear that? I hear something. I feel like there's something wrong with this headset, or there's something wrong with how I've got it plugged in. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this headset. Cause like there's all no, y'all can't hear that. Well, DePage is right there. I can see it out the window. So, oh no, the left engine died. What are we ever gonna do? Okay, so let's verify it's the left engine with the throttle. All right. Huh? The left engine did not die. All right, that's kind of annoying. This is the Grumman Albatross. Okay. Go ahead. Let's go float tank. And now, has the left engine died? Let's turn the supercharger off, and that might give us a little bit more indication. Yes, it does seem like the left engine has died. The autopilot is managing everything. We are going to descend down to land at DePage, given that that is the closest airport to us. So let's go ahead. Autopilot's off. Did autopilot disengage? Autopilot did not disengage. Let's go ahead and keep the speed above VYSE, or not VYSE, but go ahead and initiate an emergency descent. And let's go direct DePage activate. I know normally you would go dead, you would raise the dead engine, right? I just dove into the dead engine because, well, I'm going down fast enough. I know I'm going to be able to pick it back up. I'm not concerned about not being able to pick that thing back up. So let's go ahead and secure it. Left and left. Engine is secure. Let's see if we can feather it. Push to feather. There we go. Gonna feather. Keep that nose down. Keep that airspeed up. Come on, feather. There we go. Engine is secure. Go ahead and get this thing on the ground. Let's pretend that we had a fire in that engine and it hasn't gone out yet. All right, close fuel. Yep, so this is all the left stuff. Go close, gen off. Do I have a fire suppression system? I do not have a fire suppression system. But we're hoping that the fire went out. Hey, I've watched a ton of your videos and it's been really helpful with what's some of your biggest tips for your commercial pilot check ride? Stop trying to complicate it. That's one of my biggest tips. So many people try to overcomplicate their commercial certificate. Give us your best Bob Hoover. All right. Fucking so many people try to overcomplicate their multi-engine certificate, their commercial rating. Yee. Ooh, pull out of it, pull out of it. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. That was close. That was close. Now let's get back on course. But so many people try to overcomplicate their commercial check ride so much. Here's the thing. Nobody is asking you to start an airline. So stop explaining what certificates you need to start an airline. Because you're not starting an airline. So stop telling me that, oh, well, if I'm a 121 certificate, I need to establish such and such, such and such, such and such. No, I'm gonna give you a route and a scenario that we're gonna be flying. And what I'm gonna ask you eventually is this legal? Can you do this? That's all I want, is you to be able to discern on whether or not you're gonna be breaking the law by doing this flight. I guess I could have dropped the, nope, I can't drop the gear. VLLE, so landing gear extension, is 120. Oh, I did not realize that I could put these in reverse in flight. Holy shit. I bet that'll slow us down. The engine did not like that. Did not like that one bit. All right. We can start slowing down. Because the airport's right there. That's our diversion airport. We lost an engine. We have no intention on going any further. Our yaw damper is taking care of maintaining that slip angle, the side slip angle that we want for a single engine. Because the G1000, like, it all talks, like our engine monitor and all that jazz, it all talks to each other. So runway's assured. Let's go ahead and drop the gear, drop a notch of flaps. Gear is down. We're going to make it. Everyone's going to survive. I'm going to put it on the, oh yeah, we're definitely going to put it on the 1,000-foot markers. All right, flaps are down, gear's down. I mean, we're not, what do I think about tiny TN Flyer? I have no idea who that is. What is the case of TN Fly Girl? Is that the girl that buried the airplane into the ground because she was too busy, because she didn't understand her autopilot and she was too busy fiddle fucking with the cameras? All right, let's go ahead and let's make this a little more difficult. We're going to kill the yaw damper. So now we've got a little bit that we actually have to, ooh. Oh, she's fat. Oh, that takes a lot of power to get that thing. So I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I think you should have a commercial certificate for content creation in an airplane. I think if your sole purpose of flying that day is to create content, guess what? That's not incidental. That is commercial. So I think a lot of these problems could be solved, and a lot of people would be in, not die if we started enforcing things like that. Oh, we did land. That was just a smooth ass landing. I didn't even realize we landed. I didn't think I was that good. Like, oh, a little off center line, but oh, I think we're out. The CG is off. I think we should have burnt more out of the rear tanks because look at this. She's sitting on her tail because we didn't because we burnt the fuel improperly. I was burning stuff out of the front so that like I would shift my CG rear so that I could get a higher cruise speed. But we can see what kind of problems that could lead to. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. But yeah, I don't really want to talk ill of the dead, and I don't really like to talk about accidents because I wasn't in the airplane. I wasn't in the airplane. I don't know the conditions. I don't know what was going on. What I have heard is that she was distracted. She was flying around distracted. She spent a lot of time focusing on her cameras as opposed to focusing on operating the aircraft. And she didn't understand her autopilot. Again, these are things that I have heard. This is not stuff that I have read. So like, if I'm completely wrong, I'm completely wrong. I don't want to like bash anybody for doing something that they weren't doing. But what I do see a lot is fresh pilots taking on excess risk for the shot, for a video, for something that's not really pertaining to the safety of flight. Like and with experience and with more training and getting your commercial certificate, you learn a lot more about test. Okay. My mic died. My mic died. Sorry. So where was I at? Toxicology or otherwise. Oh, the tail strike. There was no tail strike. Okay, there was no tail strike. This is a CG issue. I burnt too much fuel out of the front of the airplane. I should have been burning it from the rear of the airplane. If I was burning it from the rear of the airplane wouldn't have ended up on its tail. But as I was saying, there have been situations where student pilots or private pilots or even instrument rated pilots or even instrument rated pilots that they have taken on excess risk for the content. They have taken on excess risk to make a video. And that's kind of why I said, like, if you are flying and your sole purpose is content creation and you are being paid as a content creator, then you should have a commercial certificate because, like, let's be honest, that's why we're flying. Like, even in my airplane, I don't go and fly my airplane. I rarely go and fly my airplane just for shits and giggles. If I go and fly my airplane, I'm flying it to make money. I am flying it to make a fun and entertaining video so that I can make my pennies per view. But if that's your plan, then you should probably have a commercial certificate. You should be trained in your automation. Now, read your damn POH. Read your autopilot manual. The amount of students that I have taught that have spent $200,000 on either an airplane or avionics that they're throwing in that airplane, and they haven't read the damn manual. Like, pardon my French, but you spent $60,000 on the autopilot alone. Read the fucking manual. Like, what I'm not going to teach you how to use your GFC 550. I don't have the money for a GFC 550. Like, I'm not going to read the GFC 550. It's your airplane. It's your avionics. It's what you paid for. Read the manual. Which is why I harp on students so much. Like, you've seen my mock check rides. Anybody who's still here has seen my mock check rides. And you have seen how much I harp on students going, have you read the POH? Have you read the POH? Well, it's in the POH. And like, I find it's super easy to find stuff from the POH to just make it obvious on whether or not a student has read the POH. Like, it's super obvious when somebody hasn't read their POH. And the reason I harp on it is because if you're not going to read your POH now as a student pilot, you're definitely not going to read your operations manual when you're a commercial pilot. You're definitely not going to read your operations manual when you're an airline pilot. And you're definitely not going to read your manual when you go and when you finally have the money to buy an airplane. So if we nip that in the bud here and I harass you and dang near haze you for not reading your manuals, now as a student pilot, hopefully you don't end up dead like TN Fly Girl. Because my understanding of the scenario was that she didn't understand her automation and her automation put her into the ground. Like we saw earlier in this stream that I was just I just wasn't paying attention, right? I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't managing my automation. We were talking about other things. And my automation got so out of hand that my autopilot almost stalled me due to my pitot tube getting plugged. And it took me a little bit of like, okay, what's going on? What's going on? Why is my airspeed not changing? Why are we not slowing down? What's going on? What's going on? And that's mainly just because I wasn't engaged in the task at hand. Obviously, at work, I'm not talking to a bunch of people in chat. I'm not looking up airplanes, especially not while I'm climbing and doing all kinds of other stuff. I'm locked in on the task at hand, which is why I think it's super important that if you are going to make content in an airplane, the primary goal is operating that airplane. The amount of flights that I have gone on with the intention of making content and got nothing out of it because the primary task turned into operating the aircraft. Sure, would it have been cool to make a video about how I got stuck in IFR, my iPad failed me, and now I'm descending slowly because I'm starting to get into icing conditions and ATC is losing me on the radio. Yeah, that would have been cool to make a video out of. But I needed to focus on the fucking flying the airplane. Sorry, I went on a little bit of a rant. That did take like 5 minutes, but let's close this out on a good note. Read your manuals. You're all going to be great pilots if you read your manuals and you study, right? Most people can't, like, let's be honest. The biggest barrier to becoming a pilot, it's money. It's just money. I grew up poor and I thought I was never going to be a pilot because I grew up poor, because that's what it is. But you're all going to be great pilots as long as you can afford it. And yeah, y'all have a good night.